World Refugee Day.
World Refugee Day is an international day designated by the United Nations to honor refugees around the globe. It falls each year on June 20th and celebrates the strength and courage of people who have been forced to flee their home country to escape conflict or persecution. World Refugee Day is an occasion to build empathy and understanding for their plight and to recognize their resilience in rebuilding their lives. Whoever they are, people forced to flee should be treated with dignity. Anyone can seek protection, regardless of who they are or what they believe. It is non-negotiable. Seeking safety is a human right. Wherever they come from, people forced to flee should be welcomed. Refugees come from all over the globe. To get out of harm's way, they might take a plane, a boat, or travel on foot. What remains universal is the right to seek safety. Whenever people are forced to flee, they have a right to be protected. Whatever the threat, war, violence, persecution, everyone deserves protection. Everyone has a right to be safe.
Every minute 20 people leave everything behind to escape war, persecution or terror. There are several types of forcibly displaced persons. Refugees.
A refugee is someone who fled his or her home and country owing to a well-founded fear of persecution because of his or her race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion, according to the United Nations 1951 Refugee Convention. Many refugees are in exile to escape the effects of natural or human-made disasters.
Asylum seekers.
Asylum seekers say they are refugees and have fled their homes as refugees do, but their claim to refugee status is not yet definitively evaluated in the country to which they fled.
Internally displaced persons.
Internally displaced persons, IDPs, are people who have not crossed an international border but have moved to a different region than the one they call home within their own country.
Stateless persons.
Stateless persons do not have a recognized nationality and do not belong to any country. Statelessness situations are usually caused by discrimination against certain groups. Their lack of identification, a citizenship certificate, can exclude them from access to important government services, including healthcare, education or employment.
Returnees.
Returnees are former refugees who return to their own countries or regions of origin after time in exile. Returnees need continuous support and reintegration assistance to ensure that they can rebuild their lives at home.
1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 Protocol.
The 1951 Refugee Convention is an international treaty that provides the legal framework for the protection of refugees and their rights. It was adopted on July 28, 1951, during a United Nations conference held in Geneva, Switzerland. The convention defines who qualifies as a refugee, outlines their rights and obligations, and establishes the legal obligations of states towards refugees. The convention outlines certain rights and obligations for both refugees and the countries that have ratified the convention. The 1967 Protocol relating to the status of refugees is an additional legal instrument that expanded the scope of the 1951 Convention. It removed geographical and time limitations, making the protection under the convention applicable to refugees who were outside their home country prior to January 1, 1951. The protocol also allowed countries that were not party to the 1951 Convention to become parties to the protocol, effectively broadening the number of states bound by its provisions. Together, the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 Protocol form the cornerstone of international refugee law. They provide a framework for the protection of refugees and the obligations of states, aiming to ensure the rights and well-being of individuals who have been forced to flee their homes due to persecution or other serious threats.
The rights contained in the 1951 Convention include
the right not to be expelled, except under certain, strictly defined conditions. The right not to be punished for illegal entry into the territory of a contracting state. The right to work. The right to housing. The right to education. The right to public relief and assistance. The right to freedom of religion. The right to access the courts. The right to freedom of movement within the territory. The right to be issued identity and travel documents.
While the Refugee Convention has played a crucial role in providing protection to refugees worldwide, it has also faced some criticisms. Here are a few common criticisms. Limited definition.
The Convention's definition of a refugee is based on events that occurred prior to January 1, 1951. Critics argue that this definition does not encompass all individuals who may be in need of international protection, such as those fleeing from more recent conflicts or environmental disasters. Additionally, some argue that the Convention's definition does not adequately cover individuals who are displaced within their own countries, internally displaced persons.
Inconsistent implementation.
The Convention relies on states' willingness and ability to implement its provisions effectively. Critics point out that not all countries fully adhere to their obligations under the Convention, leading to uneven protection for refugees and varying standards of treatment across different regions.
Limited burden sharing.
The Convention places a significant burden on countries that are geographically closer to conflict zones or regions with high numbers of refugees. This can create imbalances and strain on these countries, both economically and socially, while other countries may contribute less or fail to provide adequate support.
Detention and treatment of refugees.
Some critics argue that the Convention does not explicitly prohibit the detention of refugees or adequately address their treatment while in detention. The conditions and duration of detention in some countries have been a subject of concern, with calls for more comprehensive safeguards to protect the rights and well-being of refugees.
Lack of adequate resources.
The Convention does not provide a mechanism for sufficient financial and logistical support to countries hosting large numbers of refugees. This can lead to challenges in providing essential services, such as healthcare, education, and employment opportunities, for refugees and strain the resources of host communities.